All right, we're in round 1. We have the choice. We'll play first. We've got blue and green, and yeah, we're going to keep it. I mean, we don't have our black mana yet, but the fact that we could possibly turn 3 play an Infiltrator is actually pretty nice. Actually, Infiltrator is just straight up good for our deck because of the fact that we don't have a lot going on in the 1 and 2 drop slot. So there's a good chance if we open a hand with Infiltrator, it's the first creature we play, which thereby means if it's not killed, it's the first thing we get in with, which means we get a couple Manifest dudes, which is pretty nice. All right, opponent is with us. We're on the play. We do need a 3rd land. If we're going to draw a tapped land, I would hope that it's this turn coming up and not the next turn, because then we can't drop our 3-drop. All right, well, we are going to need a land next turn, but we'll see if we can get it. Land here is pretty huge. All right, did get the tap land, which is unfortunate, but I would still say it's a better draw than no land. So we're a bit behind at the moment, but not too dramatically yet. And we do have all 3 colors, so all of that is pretty good news. No black mana from our opponent yet. For the Hate Blade, of course. And a morph. All right. So let's drop our Infiltrator and pass. If he attacks with both, I think I'd best not block, since there are many. Well, he pre-combated, so I guess that's a good sign. He definitely could have faked it. He also missed his land drop, which is certainly worthy of noting. We, however, did not, which is also good news. So let's get in with our Infiltrator first and foremost. See what we manifest. Mystic. Now that's a pretty sexy one to manifest, no doubt, no doubt. So choice now. I could actually, if I write into being, like, here's the thing. If I write into being, I can play Mandrills next turn. If I play Surveyor, I could bounce a Morph, which sets him back, or I could make a 3/3 flyer, which is also quite good. But I'm kind of tempted to do the write into being because it not only controls my next turn's draw, possibly giving me Abomination next turn as well, but it could give me a land, which might actually be good for unmorphing my Mystic and playing a 3-drop, which is also good. So I think we're going right into being. We're going to see what we can do with that. I like making the Mandrills cheaper too. I do think that's relevant. I like the Surveyor play too, but I kind of feel like Surveyor is going to be more useful when he's either unmorphs something or plays a threat that I can't deal with. Since we're so low on removal, I really think Surveyor as a bounce effect plus creature sort of tempo play is going to be really important for us. Oh, this is great. So now we're going to manifest the Death Dealer, and we are actually going to leave the Surveyor on top. Now we've got some just great tempo plays coming up here. We get to just start slamming some Surveyors, swinging with team. Not necessarily in that order, of course. Swinging with his morphs. All right, we're going to take it. We've got just a crazy good backswing sort of coming up here, so I don't see why. Yeah. Alright, well, I think we're just going to swing here. I could bounce the Hateblade in case of the old Awaken the Bear play, but I'm kind of interested to see how he blocks. No blocks. Well, in that case, I think I'm just going to slam a Mandrills. I guess you could kill shot here too. Should be reasonable. At least it's a blind kill shot. Or Sandblast, of course. I do think we're playing Mandrills regardless. Once again, I could just go Surveyor, Surveyor, but playing Mandrills keeps his guys back, gives me a good threat, and makes my Surveyors even better as the offensive tempo play when I've got a 4/4 Trampler out there. Okay, so opponent has taken the damage. We're going to follow up with Mandrills here. And pass. Opponent is missed his land drop for a couple turns. We just missed our land drop here. Okay, so he got his removal down for the Mandrills. We're still ahead on the race, and I think the Aven Surveyors are going to be pretty good ace in the holes. And granted, I could have actually so I could have unmanifested the Infiltrator to get another manifest guy too. I guess that was a pretty good option at my disposal. But it did kind of feel like he had something going on there. Hopefully he just plays a creature here, because then we're in tempo paradise. Yeah. So now we are officially in just tempo our opponent out paradise. We get to bounce his squad, set him back, get in for more damage. Hateblade's got Death Touch now. Certainly worthy of noting. If he attacks with both Morph, I'm actually kind of tempted to block with a Surveyor, because he would have to use presumably all 5 mana to unmorph. Could be an Abzan Guide, however, but I mean, Guide's going to be a problem anyway, I think. Alright, he just plays the long shot squad and passes. So I think what we're actually going to do now, so here's kind of what I'm thinking my options are. I can play a second Surveyor, bounce the long shot squad again, swing team. He gets to Hateblade blind block a manifest, which is not bad, and then likely do some. I think that's probably our best play. My other option was just unmorph Mystic, unmorph Mystic, and get in with Mystic plus Aven Surveyor and leave back these two. But I'm not entirely convinced I like that more. Although, no, I was going to say I can turn this up as well as unmorph this, which actually isn't bad since I can activate its ability twice next turn. But I'm pretty tempted to just go with my gut, which says play the Surveyor, bounce the squad again, and just swing the team and let him blind pick something to block with the Hate Blade. And if he's got an Abzan guide that he wants to protect for next turn, I still think we can reasonably outrace it, although it might pose some issues. Nope, he's just straight up willing to do some trades at this point. Okay. Well, I'm okay with that option too. I could have left back the Mystic too. That would have been an okay option. But I feel like we're in okay shape now because all we know about that he's got is the long shot squad. We've got back-to-back. Next turn we get to play Scavenger plus Morph out an Abomination, which is just a lot to deal with. He already has to deal with these two Surveyors, which I guess Death Frenzy would take care of, but Death Frenzy would have taken care of my board anyway. So we're going to morph out Abomination and play a Scavenger. Okay, after some thinking, my opponent decided to concede. We're playing against Abzan. Sideboard options at our disposal. We have Stubborn Denial, which I still don't think is very good in our deck. We have Tygom Scheming to give us more early plays to make our delve cheaper, which isn't bad actually. Or we have some more blockers, I guess. Stuff like this. Ancestral Vengeance, which seems difficult to cast. I think we're going to keep it the same. I mean, it was tough to say exactly how well our deck matches up against our opponents because our opponent got mana screwed. So tough to say. So let's go to game 2 and see if we can perform as well as we did in game 1. Okay, I'm going to keep this. We don't have any green mana, which will pose a problem at some point. But we do have the Infiltrator again, as well as 2 mana, and we're on the draw, so there's a decent chance we get to resolve the Infiltrator and get in and get a couple manifests once again. Does appear that's going to happen. No 2-drop, that's a good sign. Sultai Banner, not an actual dead draw. An actual fine way to fix for our green mana. And actually, Sultai Banner, I would argue, is the best of the banners, since once you crack it and sack it, you get to make your delve spells cheaper at the same time. It's kind of it's a nice little deal you get out of it. Okay, drew another land, which is fine, so we'll drop our Infiltrator and we'll pass. Next turn, it seems pretty likely we're just going to drop a banner. All right, we'll take it. I'll bite. There's a lot of stuff that he could have there that he played conservatively in game 1 too, which really does make me think that he's missing something there. I'm pretty tempted to just drop the swamp. Kind of like everything else in our hand. I think I'm just dropping the swamp. I like the land, and we possibly miss our land drop here, but we are getting a banner, which is kind of like a land drop. All right. So I could have played the Lotus Patch in instead, but to be honest, are we even really in that bad of a spot? I mean, we get to get in next turn as well, potentially with our Infiltrator and use it again, even if we miss our land drop. Did get another land off the top, but it wasn't a green mana, so let's slam our banner here and pass. Now we're actually in a pretty decent position here, because what we get to do is block with our manifested swamp creature, and then we have one creature again, which means if I don't do it, at the very least, I can... All right, we'll block the Bloodsucker. Although, yeah, it's... I was going to say, if it's Feat of Resistance, I maybe want to block the Skull Hunter, but that doesn't make too much. Actually, if I block the Bloodsucker, he just gets to sack the Skull Hunter and eat my manifest and get a 3/3, but he does lose his Skull Hunter, so it's like trading for the Skull Hunter anyway, but it gives him the option to do that. I guess either way he's got the option. Let's block the Bloodsucker and force him to sacrifice the Skull Hunter or play a trick. I think that is actually the best. Okay. So even if I had blocked the Skull Hunter, he would have just put both tokens on there, thereby still being an issue. But now we're just a land away. We can play the Mandrills. We're a land away from Surveyor. So we can slam a Surveyor here, bouncing Bloodsucker, and having a blocker for Skull Hunter. We can also... That's not bad either. I can infiltrate again, and I get a blocker for the Skull Hunter. That's pretty good, actually. I kind of like that. I kind of like that more than playing the Surveyor or the Mandrills even. I think I'm going to do that. All right. Dismal Backwater is not particularly something I wanted to draw anyway, so that seems okay. So now we once again, and at this point I might even double block the Bloodsucker. I'm not opposed to that. If he's got another combat trick, make him use it. He could sack the Skull Hunter, I guess, to kill both my guys, but at this point I would say the Infiltrator's already done its job. It's bought me a lot of time. All right, well, in that case, we're just going to block the Skull Hunter, and he can sack it to the Bloodsucker. I'm okay with that. All right. Got us pretty good there, but 2 cards left in hand. I get a Surveyor now, which is pretty powerful at this point. So I think I'm at 6 lands. I guess, actually, that's not bad, is it? Yeah. Well, actually, no, no, no. All right, I see what I'm supposed to do here. Okay. So we get in with Infiltrator again. And we're going to play Mandrills. Now you might be wondering why I'm doing this. Well, it's because I get a 4/4, which is already good. But I also get 2 more threats, which is good. Could actually Crippling Chill as well, but I kind of like playing the Mandrills more. We're actually keeping pretty reasonable pace here. I might actually just do the full spread of blocking as well. I can't decide. Maybe I just take 8 as well. That's an option. I don't really like it with the Bloodsucker, though. It seems a bit too dangerous. Although he can't sack himself, and this doesn't have 4 toughness, so he's at least doesn't have anything on hand at the moment. I'd rather bounce the Bloodsucker with the Surveyor, so I might just trade the Mandrills for the Skull Hunter, although I'm not thrilled about that. Might actually just be the best option, though. I think I'm just going to trade like that and take 4. Okay. Not the worst. We have the Surveyor, we have the Crippling Chill. We've got some actual options here. Teamer Sabertooth's a pretty good one, but we can bounce that, so I think we will be. Might actually just want to Crippling Chill it. So I've got 6 mana. I think I Crippling Chill Sabertooth. And get in with Infiltrator again. Death Dealer is something I can play. But I think we get in with both. All right. Get some more threats out there. Here's our green mana. Two cards left in our opponent's hand. He's got first strike now. I think we chump block. We buys us some time. We don't really lose anything because we already got the value off the Infiltrator. So I think what I'm going to do now is bounce the Bloodsucker with the Surveyor. That's not bad either. Six mana. I can also, yeah, let's see how he blocks. Because I might even be able to keep the craziness going, potentially. It's a pretty tight race at the moment. Double Abzan Charm's pretty crazy. That's pretty nice. see which one he blocks. Maybe he doesn't block either. It's also something that could happen. If he doesn't block either, I think I'm okay too, though. I feel like he's pretty tempted to block one. I mean, it is a guessing game here. All right, well, I think we're going to do Infiltrator again. Trade the Bondkin, Infiltrate. I get 2 untapped guys, plus I get to play Abomination of Ga'Dul. Or Death Dealer, I guess, is an option. The reason I'm not bouncing anything is I keep getting, like, chump blockers. I feel like this is better for me. Okay. Bouncing the Bondkin to save it, which is actually okay for us, I think. Since we get in, we don't lose our Manifest. Get another Manifest chump blocker. And we get Abomination of Ga'Dul, which can get in next turn. It's a pretty close game. I mean, we are at 8 life here. So opponent's got a Bondkin and an Unknown in hand. Potentially have lethal next turn with Dragon Scale Boon, but I guess it's dependent on what exactly our opponent's doing here. Well, not playing a Bondkin. That seems obvious. Okay, it's got our Morph, which is okay. And plays the Bondkin, which makes sense. Opponent is officially out of cards. He attacks with both. I get to double block the Sabertooth and kill it, which actually is pretty good. All right, just take 4 here. What does that do for me? If I take 4 here, I go to 4. I play Surveyor. I bounce the Sabertooth. I get in for 6. And then I'm only left 1 chump blocker for the blood thing. Otherwise, I can chump block here, not take 4. I think we're gonna go to 4. I mean, granted, it's a bit dangerous, but that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm actually, the crazy thing is I'm 1 mana short from Aven Surveyor plus Will the Naga, which would just be the most brutal blowout ever. But what I do get to do here is Will the Naga, tap these 2 down, and I get to do the Infiltrator. And I get 2 blockers for his Bloodsucker. I mean, I could leave another one back, but taking him to 2 just seems too good to pass up here with 2 blockers. With no cards in hand, yeah, I think that's pretty safe. You can't sack this. You can't make us lose life. All right. Well, I assume opponent's got to attack, of course. And we're going to block, of course. Awaken the Bear would have actually got us there, I guess. All right. Got round 1. That's pretty cool. And we actually had the mana to play Necropolis Fiend, too, as odd as that was the next turn. So, deck played well for us. Our opponent's deck was no walk in the park. He had double Abzan Charm, Teamer Sabertooth, Bondkin, decent removal. He got mana screwed game 1. Game 2, Infiltrator just did all sorts of work. Wow. Infiltrator was absolutely MVP of this entire match. So, really happy with my first pick decision in the case of this match. All right, let's move on to round 2.